The Hidden Truth, Emerge's Empire. The year was 2345. Earth, a peaceful planet within the vastness of the galaxy, seemed ordinary, just another speck among millions of other planets. The people of Earth lived in harmony, advancing with technology, science, and knowledge. The streets were clean, the air fresh, and life seemed calm. But beneath this tranquility lay a hidden secret, one that very few knew about. Alex Thompson, a young historian, had always been fascinated by Earth's past. His job was to study ancient records and uncover the lost tales of humanity. It was an ordinary day when he stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden within the dusty archives of a forgotten library, buried beneath centuries of paperwork and data logs, Alex found a small, tattered journal. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The journal's cover was faded, and the paper felt fragile to the touch. As Alex carefully opened it, the first few pages were filled with old handwritten notes that seemed to make little sense. But as he continued reading, the words began to reveal something shocking. The journal spoke of humanity's true power, something that no one in modern times had ever spoken of. It described how humans were once the most dominant species in the galaxy. The details were vague, but one phrase kept repeating: the galaxy's apex species. Alex paused. Apex species, he muttered to himself. How could humanity, with all its current peace and weakness, ever be considered the most powerful in the galaxy? He turned the page quickly, feeling the rush of excitement building within him. The journal went on to describe an event long ago, when humans held the power to shape the destiny of entire worlds. Other alien species feared them, not just for their advanced technology, but for something deeper, a hidden strength. But the journal did not say why humanity had chosen to hide this power. Why had they kept it a secret for centuries? And why did no one talk about it now? Was it all a legend, a story of the past that had been forgotten over time? Or was there some deeper truth that had been erased, hidden by those in power to maintain control? The mystery deepened with each new page. The journal mentioned a time before the Great Awakening, a time when humans were known across the galaxy for their strength, intelligence, and resilience. But then, seemingly overnight, they vanished from the galaxy's stage. The humans had disappeared, leaving no trace, as if their power and presence were merely a memory. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story, something far more important than just a faded record. He decided to investigate further. His first step was to go to the government archives and search for any mention of this Great Awakening. Surely, if humanity had been this powerful, someone would have recorded it in official records, right? But when he arrived at the archive, something strange happened. The door was locked, and the lights were off, despite it being well within business hours. Confused, Alex tried contacting the government, but every call he made went unanswered. It was as if they were deliberately avoiding him. That night, he tried accessing the archives from his apartment. He used the public databases, searching for anything that could explain the strange journal he had found. As he sifted through the records, something caught his attention: a reference to the Apex era in a forbidden section of the data. His heart raced as he clicked on the link. The page was covered in static, as if someone had intentionally tampered with the data. But one line stood out: the decision to hide the power of humanity was made to prevent galactic war. That was the key. Someone, or something, had made the conscious decision to hide humanity's power. But why? And how? The more Alex dug, the more questions piled up. Was there a group of people working behind the scenes to suppress this knowledge? Were they trying to protect humanity, or were they hiding the truth for darker reasons? The answers seemed just out of reach, like a puzzle with pieces scattered across the galaxy. The next morning, Alex received a mysterious message, encrypted and sent from an unknown source. It was short and simple: "You are getting too close. Stop now, before it's too late." A chill ran down his spine. Who had sent the message? And why? Was someone trying to prevent him from uncovering the truth? Determined not to back down, Alex pressed on. He couldn't ignore the clues that had fallen into his lap. Humans were once the galaxy's apex species. They had been powerful, feared, and respected. But that power had been hidden away, lost to time, and erased from the collective memory. The galaxy's apex, discovery of the past. Alex couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious message he had received the night before. Stop now, before it's too late. The warning echoed in his mind as he sat in his small apartment, staring at the encrypted file on his screen. He had already uncovered so much, too much to turn back now. Something deep inside told him that the galaxy's greatest secret was within his reach. He had to push forward. The next morning, Alex traveled to the outskirts of the city, to a place rarely visited, an old, nearly abandoned museum filled with relics from Earth's past. It was here, hidden among the dusty exhibits, that he hoped to find more clues. As he wandered through the dimly lit halls, Alex's eyes fell on a display of ancient human artifacts, old weapons, manuscripts, and relics from humanity's first space missions. He had seen these items before, but something felt different today. The air felt heavier, as though he was about to uncover something monumental. At the back of the museum, tucked away in a forgotten corner, was a room marked Restricted Access. The sign was old and weathered, but Alex knew it was where he needed to go. He pushed the door open cautiously, revealing rows of ancient documents and digital records sealed behind layers of security. Only a few individuals had access to this room, and most of them were long gone. Alex, however, had an advantage. He had learned how to hack through security systems during his university days. Within minutes, he had bypassed the barriers and opened the records. The data streamed across his screen, and what he found sent a shiver down his spine. The records were part of an old project, one that had been classified for centuries. The project, titled Project Apex, detailed humanity's rise to dominance across the galaxy. Humans had once commanded entire star systems, and their technology had been far more advanced than anything other species had ever seen. Not only did humans possess superior military power, but their understanding of energy, space travel, and biology was unmatched. They could manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. Alex's mind raced as he read through the documents. The project was shrouded in mystery, with many of the details blacked out. But there were key phrases that stood out: Galactic Peacekeeping Force, Universal Domination, and most notably, the Great Withdrawal. According to the records, there was a time when humanity had been the undisputed power in the galaxy, feared and respected by all. But then, something happened. For reasons unknown, humanity had chosen to retreat. The Great Withdrawal was described as a decision made by a small group of high-ranking humans who believed that their power was too dangerous for the galaxy. They feared that their influence could lead to an all-out war between civilizations, and so they chose to erase all traces of humanity's true strength, making it as though humans were just another peaceful species. They locked away their most powerful technologies and deliberately erased their history from the galaxy's collective memory. Alex could hardly believe what he was reading. How could humans have hidden such power for so long? And why? The answers seemed to lie in the final part of the report, where a name was mentioned: the Guardians. The Guardians were described as a secret organization, formed from the highest-ranking members of humanity's leadership. They were entrusted with keeping the truth about humanity's strength hidden, ensuring that no one could ever awaken the galaxy to humanity's true potential. But something had gone wrong. As time passed, the Guardians had become fractured, their knowledge dispersed, and the records of humanity's true power slowly faded into myth. Alex's heart pounded as he realized the implications. The Guardians were still out there, guarding humanity's secret, ensuring that no one would ever reclaim the power that had once made humans the galaxy's apex species. But what if there were others who wanted to bring that power back? What if someone dangerous, was already aware of the truth? Suddenly, Alex heard footsteps behind him. He spun around, his heart racing. In the doorway stood a tall figure, cloaked in shadows, a face partially hidden beneath a hood. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Was this another warning? Or was it someone who knew more than he did? "I see you found it," the figure said, his voice low and steady. "You shouldn't have come here, Alex. You're in over your head." Alex's pulse quickened. He wasn't sure if the figure was a friend or an enemy, but one thing was certain: he had crossed a line. The secrets of the past were coming to light, and there was no turning back now. The figure stepped forward, pulling back his hood to reveal a weathered face. "I'm part of the last remnants of the Guardians," he said. "And now you're involved. You've learned too much." Alex stood frozen, unsure of what to say. His mind raced with questions. Who was this man? Why was he part of the Guardians? And most importantly, was Alex's discovery a blessing or a curse? The man took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. "There are factions out there who will stop at nothing to claim humanity's power, but not all of them want peace. Some want war. And you, Alex, have just become their target." The weight of the situation hit Alex like a tidal wave. He had unknowingly awakened a storm that could tear the galaxy apart. But he couldn't back down. He had to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Humanity's forgotten power, once hidden in the shadows, was now on the verge of being revealed. The question was, who would control it? And would it be for good or for destruction? The discovery had only just begun. The future of the galaxy rested in Alex's hands, and he had no idea who he could trust. The galaxy's fear, revelation to Alex. Alex couldn't shake the conversation he'd had with the mysterious figure. His mind was racing, his thoughts tangled with questions. The Guardians, a secretive organization bound by the task of hiding humanity's past power, had been watching over him, or at least it seemed that way. But why had they chosen to contact him? And why now? He returned to his apartment that night, the shadows of the city lights creeping through the window. As he sat at his desk, Alex sifted through the documents he had uncovered, hoping to find something that would give him answers. The phrase "Galactic Peacekeeping Force" echoed in his mind. The records had mentioned humanity's role as the guardians of the galaxy, a force that maintained balance. But now, Alex realized that not all the species across the galaxy saw it that way. He reached out to an old colleague from his university days, someone who had been researching ancient interstellar conflicts. His name was Leo, a brilliant but eccentric scholar. Alex needed to understand why humanity had been erased from the galaxy's history. Surely, Leo would know something more. Leo answered the call quickly. His face appeared on the screen, and he immediately leaned in, his eyes wide. "Alex, you're treading on dangerous ground," Leo said. "What have you found?" Alex hesitated for a moment before telling him everything. The journal, the records, the mysterious guardians. As he spoke, Leo's expression grew more serious, his lips tightening with concern. "You have no idea what you're dealing with, Alex. You've uncovered something that many in the galaxy still fear to this day." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, his heart racing. "Humans aren't just another species," Leo explained. "At one point, you were the rulers of this galaxy. You had powers that no one, not even the most advanced civilizations, could match. That's why no one talks about it. That's why it's been erased. If the truth about humanity's past comes to light, the galaxy could descend into chaos." Alex's mind reeled. He had always believed that humans were just one of many species in the vast expanse of the galaxy. Now he was learning that humanity had been at the top, feared and respected by all. And yet, the galaxy had collectively chosen to forget this history. It wasn't just about hiding humanity's power. It was about keeping the balance intact. Why didn't they just wipe out humanity if we were that dangerous? Alex asked, unable to comprehend the situation. "They couldn't," Leo said, his voice tight with urgency. You see, humanity's power wasn't just in your technology or your military might. It was something deeper. You had a kind of potential, a knowledge that could change the very fabric of the universe itself. There are species that still remember what you were capable of, and they fear the day humanity might return to its true potential. Alex sat back in his chair, overwhelmed by this new reality. It wasn't just a history lesson. This was the truth that could alter the fate of the galaxy. He wondered how much of the galaxy's current peace had been built on the suppression of humanity's history. But why did the Guardians hide it all? Alex asked, still trying to piece together the puzzle. Why didn't humanity just embrace its power again? Leo looked grave. That's the key question, isn't it? There was a decision made long ago, a decision to withdraw. Humanity decided that it was too dangerous to wield that much power. They feared the destruction it could cause, the wars it could spark. But now, there are factions in the galaxy that want to unlock that power, to control it for their own purposes. Alex clenched his fists. Who are these factions? Who's trying to bring humanity's power back into the light? Leo's voice lowered. There are several groups, each with their own agenda. Some of them are old allies of humanity, species who once fought alongside you during the Great Wars. They want to see humanity return to its rightful place as the galaxy's leaders. But there are others, darker factions, who want the power for themselves. They see humanity's potential as a weapon, a tool to dominate the galaxy once again. The weight of Leo's words settled heavily on Alex's shoulders. Humanity had once been the apex species, but now they were nothing more than a forgotten myth to the galaxy's other inhabitants. And yet, there were those who remembered, who feared what would happen if humanity ever regained its full power. As Alex sat in stunned silence, he realized that the danger wasn't just about the past. It was about the future. If these factions succeeded in waking humanity's power, it could either bring about peace and order or destroy everything the galaxy had worked to build. The balance was fragile, and Alex had just become a part of it. He knew he couldn't stop now. If humanity was going to reclaim its place, he would have to find the Guardians, uncover the secrets they had hidden for centuries, and decide which side of history he would stand on. Before he could say anything more, Leo's face disappeared from the screen. A moment later, the data on Alex's computer flickered and went black. "Alex," a voice whispered from the darkness, sending a chill down his spine. "You're not the only one looking for the truth." Alex's heart pounded. Someone had been watching him. The fight for humanity's forgotten power had already begun, and Alex was at the center of it. The Great Awakening. Dangerous discoveries. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of Alex's computer screen. He sat frozen, his mind reeling from the cryptic message and the implications of Leo's warnings. Someone was watching him. Someone who wanted to prevent him from uncovering the truth about humanity's power. The shadows in his room seemed to grow darker, as if the very walls were closing in on him. Alex quickly shut down his computer and checked the locks on his apartment door. He had no idea who could be after him. But the chilling reality was clear. Whatever he had discovered, whatever secrets he had uncovered, they were dangerous. Dangerous enough that someone didn't want him to dig any deeper. His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of his communicator buzzing. It was a secure message, encrypted and sent from an unknown source. His heart skipped a beat. He had been expecting this. Was it a warning? Or was someone reaching out to him? He opened the message with trembling hands. The text was simple. "Meet me. Tonight. The truth is closer than you think." The message was signed with a symbol he had never seen before. 2 intertwined circles, one black and one white, with a jagged line running through them. It was unlike any emblem used by the government or any known faction in the galaxy. The sender's identity was a mystery, but Alex knew he had no choice but to follow the message's instructions. It was the only lead he had left. That night, Alex found himself in a dimly lit alley in the heart of the city. He looked around cautiously, feeling the weight of the darkness pressing in. Every step he took seemed to echo in the quiet, empty street. He had never been this paranoid in his life, but the stakes were too high now. The truth about humanity's past, about the galaxy's fear of humans, was within his reach. But who could he trust? And what would happen once he learned more? The sound of footsteps broke his concentration. He spun around quickly, but it wasn't the mysterious figure from earlier. Instead, a woman stepped out of the shadows, her eyes sharp and calculating. "You came," she said in a voice that was both calm and commanding. "I didn't think you would." Alex took a cautious step forward. "Who are you? And what do you know about humanity's past?" The woman studied him for a moment before answering. "My name is Kayla, and I've been tracking you for a while now. Alex, you're getting close to something that should have stayed buried. You need to understand. This is bigger than just you. It's bigger than humanity." Alex's mind was racing. Another player in this dangerous game had appeared, and they knew more than they were letting on. "What do you mean? Who are you working for?" Kayla didn't answer directly. Instead, she gestured for Alex to follow her. "There's a place not far from here, where we can talk more safely. There are eyes everywhere. And the more you dig, the more dangerous it gets." Reluctantly, Alex followed her down a series of narrow streets and hidden pathways. Eventually, they arrived at an unmarked door beneath an old building. Kayla pressed her palm against a small scanner, and the door slid open silently. Inside, the room was filled with advanced technology, computers, monitors, and data files that looked as if they hadn't been touched in years. "This is where it all started," Kayla said, her voice lowering. "This is where the truth has been hidden." She led him to a central terminal, where a series of encrypted files sat waiting to be unlocked. With a few quick keystrokes, she brought up a series of historical records. At first glance, they looked like just another set of boring government archives. But as Alex scanned through the data, something stood out. There were records of human involvement in conflicts that had never been taught in schools, wars that had shaped the galaxy's power structures in ways no one had ever revealed. And there, buried in the middle of it all, was the truth Alex had been seeking. Humanity's true role as the galaxy's apex species. "Humans didn't just hide their power because they feared it," Kayla said, watching Alex closely as he read. "They hid it because they knew that if the other species knew the truth, they would all try to take that power for themselves, and they would do whatever it took to control it." "But why keep it hidden?" Alex asked. "Why not let humanity return to its place as the galaxy's leaders?" Kayla's eyes narrowed. "Because once that power is unleashed, there's no going back. It will either bring peace or destroy everything. The galaxy is fragile. The last thing anyone needs is for humanity to rise again and tip the balance." Suddenly, the room's lights flickered, and a loud alarm went off. Alex's heart skipped a beat. They had been discovered. "They found us," Kayla said, her voice calm but urgent. "We don't have much time. If you want to know the rest, we need to go now." Before Alex could respond, the door burst open. Armed guards rushed into the room, weapons raised. Kayla moved quickly, pulling Alex toward the far side of the room. "Follow me. Don't stop." The guards opened fire, and Alex felt a rush of adrenaline flood his system. He had no choice but to trust Kayla. She led him through a series of narrow hallways, her movements swift and sure. But it was clear they weren't alone. They were being hunted. As they reached an emergency escape hatch, Kayla turned to Alex. "You've learned too much. Now you need to decide. Will you fight for humanity's power to be unleashed, or will you help keep it buried forever?" The decision weighed heavily on Alex's shoulders. He had uncovered the truth, but now the fate of the galaxy and humanity rested in his hands. Should he let the truth come to light, risking everything? Or should he destroy the evidence and live with the lie? As the hatch closed behind them, Alex knew that the answers he sought would not come easily, but the journey had only just begun. The stakes were higher than ever, and the enemies were closing in. It was a dangerous game, and Alex was now deep in the heart of it. The choice. Climax. The night air was cold as Alex and Kayla sprinted through the back alleys of the city, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The alarms had died down, but the weight of their situation pressed heavily on Alex's chest. They had narrowly escaped the guards, but their pursuers weren't far behind. Every shadow seemed to hide an enemy, every corner a trap. Alex's mind was racing. He had learned more than he ever expected to know about humanity's past, but now he had to make a choice that could change everything. Should he expose humanity's true power to the galaxy? Should he fight for humanity to reclaim its position as the galaxy's apex species, or would that cause the destruction of the fragile peace that existed? Or should he keep everything buried, risking humanity's greatness fading into the annals of history forever? Kayla led him through a series of underground tunnels, finally emerging into an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. They'd reached a safe house, a place where they could regroup and plan their next move. But Alex felt the weight of the decision more than ever. Kayla spoke first, her voice steady, but filled with an undeniable tension. The truth you've uncovered is dangerous, Alex. There are factions out there who would destroy everything to control it. Some of them want peace, but others want war. And if humanity rises again, there's no telling what might happen. Alex took a deep breath, his mind still reeling. But why hide it forever? If humanity was the galaxy's apex species, shouldn't we lead again? Wouldn't that help the galaxy stay strong, bring order? Kayla shook her head, her expression grim. The galaxy is not ready for humanity's return to power. Those who fear it will strike first, trying to control us or destroy us. Even if humanity can rise to greatness, it could be torn apart by the very powers that once feared us. It's not just about strength, Alex. It's about balance. He paced back and forth, the weight of Kayla's words sinking in. So, what do we do now? Do we let the galaxy stay in the dark forever? Do we just bury this truth and live with the lie? Kayla looked at him, her eyes sharp and calculating. The truth isn't as simple as you think. There are people who believe humanity's power can bring about peace. They've waited for centuries, hoping that one day humans would return to lead once more. But there are others who would see that power as a weapon. They'll do anything to keep it suppressed, to prevent humanity from reclaiming its place. It's a delicate balance, Alex. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the building, followed by footsteps. Alex's heart raced. They weren't alone anymore. Someone had found them. Kayla's hand shot out, grabbing Alex by the arm. We don't have much time. Whatever you choose, it's going to affect everything. There's no turning back once the choice is made. Before Alex could respond, the door to the room slammed open, and a group of heavily armed soldiers stormed inside. Their faces were obscured by helmets, their weapons raised and ready. Alex instinctively backed up, his mind scrambling for a way out. One of the soldiers stepped forward. "Alex Thompson, you're coming with us," the leader said, his voice cold and mechanical. Kayla immediately stepped in front of Alex, her eyes flashing. "You won't take him. Not after everything he's uncovered." "Step aside," the soldier growled. "You have no idea what you're playing with. The truth is too dangerous. You can't let him decide what happens next." Kayla didn't flinch. He already has. Before anyone could react, Kayla launched herself at the nearest soldier, knocking him to the ground. Chaos erupted in the small room as Alex tried to find cover. He had no idea who these soldiers were or what their intentions were, but one thing was clear. They were sent to stop him from making a decision, from taking action. In the heat of the moment, Alex realized something. There was no easy answer. No matter what choice he made, it would come with consequences. Whether he chose to bring humanity's power back into the galaxy or keep it buried, there was no escaping the ripple effect it would cause. The soldiers moved in fast, and Kayla fought fiercely to protect him. As the room filled with the sounds of gunfire and chaos, Alex knew he had to act. He couldn't just stand by. The future of the galaxy was at stake, and he was the one holding the key to its fate. He darted toward a control panel along the wall and quickly accessed the systems. There, hidden within the encrypted files, were the codes to unlock the humanity's secret technologies, the very power that could alter the balance of the galaxy forever. He hesitated for a split second, but only for a moment. Alex hit the final command. The room shook as systems powered up. The soldiers froze, realizing what Alex had just done. "No," the leader snarled, rushing forward, but it was too late. The room suddenly flooded with data streams, holographic images, and displays that projected humanity's forgotten strength. Vast fleets of ships, energy weapons, and technology beyond the understanding of most alien species. The soldiers took a step back, awestruck, unsure of what to do next. Alex turned to Kayla, who was breathing heavily but had a glint of approval in her eyes. "It's done," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. Kayla nodded. "Now we face the consequences." As the soldiers retreated, realizing they could no longer control the situation, Alex knew that nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy had just been given a glimpse of humanity's true potential, and it was up to him to decide how that power would be used. Should humanity take its rightful place once again as the galaxy's leaders, or should it hide in the shadows, forever bound by the fear of what it could become? There was no turning back now. The choice had been made, and the future was uncertain. The return of the apex. Resolution. The room was silent except for the hum of the systems that had just been activated. The soldiers, once so confident, had now retreated into the shadows. Their mission had failed, and they knew it. Alex stood in the center of the room, his heart pounding in his chest, as the vast holographic displays of humanity's forgotten power filled the space around him. Ships, weapons, energy grids, each more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen, were now within reach. Humanity's potential was once again a reality. Kayla stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the holograms. "You did it, Alex. You've awakened the truth, but now we have to face the consequences." Alex didn't respond immediately. He was still processing what had just happened. The decision was irreversible. Humanity's power was now exposed. The galaxy would no longer see humans as weak or forgotten. They would see them as a force to be reckoned with. The truth had been unleashed, and with that truth came fear. As the days passed, Alex began to see the galaxy's reactions unfold. News spread like wildfire. Factions that had long been silent now spoke openly about the dangers of humanity's return to power. Some were eager to welcome humanity back, seeing it as a chance to restore order and stability to a galaxy that had grown complacent in its peace. These were the allies, old friends from humanity's past who had always known the truth, but had waited for the right moment. But there were others, darker factions, who saw humanity's return as a threat. They believed that humanity's power could tip the delicate balance of the galaxy, igniting new conflicts and old grudges. These factions were powerful, and they wouldn't allow humanity to reclaim its place without a fight. Alex knew he couldn't stop what was coming. The choice had been made, and now the galaxy would have to deal with the consequences of that decision. Some would embrace the return of humanity. Others would resist it with everything they had. The stakes had never been higher. But Alex didn't regret his decision. Deep down, he knew that humanity's potential could bring about a new era, a chance to lead the galaxy into a time of unity and prosperity. It wasn't about domination or power. It was about responsibility. Humanity had the strength to protect the galaxy, to guide it through the uncertainty ahead. It was time for humans to rise, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The first steps toward this new era were difficult. Diplomatic meetings were held, alliances were formed, and tensions ran high. There were protests, rebellions, and even attempts on Alex's life. But through it all, he stood firm. Humanity's power was not a weapon. It was a gift. It was a gift that could bring peace, but only if used wisely. One evening, as Alex stood on a balcony overlooking the city, Kayla joined him. The air was calm, and the stars above seemed to shine brighter than ever. "You did the right thing," she said softly. "The galaxy may not see it now, but in time, they will." Alex nodded, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I hope so. It's not going to be easy, but I believe in humanity. I believe that we can make the galaxy a better place." Kayla smiled, though there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "It's not just about making things better for humanity. It's about making things better for everyone. The galaxy needs leaders who will act for the greater good, not just for power." Alex turned to her, a sense of resolve in his heart. "That's what we'll do. We'll lead with wisdom, not force. We'll show the galaxy that humanity isn't just the apex species by strength, but by choice." In the following months, humanity began to reassert its place in the galaxy, but not through conquest. Alex and Kayla worked with other species, forging alliances and ensuring that the legacy of the past didn't repeat itself in a war-torn future. Gradually, the galaxy began to stabilize, with humanity leading the charge toward peace and prosperity. The Great Awakening was just the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, enemies to face, and tough decisions to make. But humanity had the strength, the wisdom, and the heart to guide the galaxy through it all. The galaxy would never be the same, but one thing was certain. Humanity had returned, not to rule with an iron fist, but to guide with a steady hand. And in time, the galaxy would come to realize that the true power of humanity wasn't in their strength. It was in their ability to choose a better future for everyone.